I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wonder how long we'll be able to do this.
Again, thank you for coming tonight. I don't have the minutes for the last meeting, and so I will, Pat hasn't, she's not here tonight, so we'll have to suspend the approval of the minutes until I have them available.
Okay, approve them.
Okay. Are there any additions or deletions to the current agenda? If not, I'd like to...
Motion to approve as printed.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, as far as reports is concerned, Leah Shelke was supposed to be here tonight for the liaison for the Recreation Department. Pat Selby, I'm sorry to say, is not here tonight. I received a call from Pat today. Because of her job responsibilities, she's just took on a new full-time job. She's going to be unable to serve as a member of the committee, so she's submitting her letter of resignation. So that's going to hurt us. Pat was a very active member, very helpful, and I personally am going to miss her. The letter will be addressed to the Township Board with copies to us, so that means that we have to now conduct a search for a replacement member for Pat. And also, we will also need to contact the Grosse Ile Nature and Land Conservancy to select another person to serve as a non-voting liaison. It might be, so I'm sorry to hear her go, or to see that she's going to have to resign. As far as the Township Board, Wally, is there any, give us an update of what was going on?
I can tell you that we've been busy getting used to our new roles, and it's a new board, a new dynamic, and I think a good one.
Okay.
So far, so good. We've had a pretty good understanding of each other, and we're trying to figure out who's got weaknesses and who's got strong spots and how they'll all fit together. And so that's encouraging to me. But specifically, as my duties regard this department, you notice there is an action item, that talks about a joint meeting of open space and bike path committees.
Right.
I believe that all of the commissions and the committees have been very, very well focused on their duties. Every commission sits down and works right in their own silo, and it's time to get the silos together. We have to get this island populated. We have to get more people in our schools. We have to get more customers. And I think that one of the ways that I'd like to see us do something about trying to get us more populated is to take the things that open space offers and put it into some sort of a project document as a component of why you'd want to live here. I think that there is a natural match between the open space and the bike path committees. They're both involving people doing primarily leisure things and traversing the island on foot, primarily, or on bicycle. And that's something that those two together should be able to develop some sort of a synergy to make it an interesting thing for a prospective future resident. I see the Recreation Department working their tails off year in, year out, and we're not working our way into them, and they're not working their way into us.
When I first moved to the Grosse Ile, we didn't have a recreation department. It was not funded by the township. The recreation department they was all volunteers. They raised money. They had their own fundraisers, and everything was all done They didn't even have a full staff member on the recreation department.
And your point? I'm missing the point.
74. No, my point is that the recreation department has gone, is spread out all over the place.
I understand that, and what I'm doing is supporting that statement. But I think that the Recreation Department and our committee, and the Bike Path Committee, and all of the committees should figure out a way to put together
But I
a
think
mass document that says, why would I want to live here?
But I think what I'm alluding to is that I don't think that the attraction to residents comes from the angle of having more recreation facilities.
I didn't say we should. I'm saying that recreation should tie together as a component of a lifestyle here. Recreation department is one of the things available to you. Open space is one of the things available to you. A great school system is available to you. Bike paths all through the island is another thing available to you. And those things ought to be, instead of looked at as individuals, they should be looked at as one big component.
Are we talking some sort of, I use the word a booklet or an article, or not a magazine, but a brochure that's put together by the three groups to every island, to everybody that moves to the island, or those that are contemplating?
We will certainly talk about that at our last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that to the Bike Path Advisory Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be very interested in sitting down and talking about a joint production of some sort.
Okay.
Whether it's a brochure, whether it's a half-an-hour program that we could send to other people. Pure Michigan, Pure Grows Eel.
Mm-hmm.
But can you see something like that? This is why you want to live here. You love to boat? We have the opportunities. Do you like to play tennis? We have the opportunities. You want to golf? We have 3 golf courses. You want to ride your trail bike? We have 14 miles of this and 7 miles of that. And
is there a lot of vacant homes in the island? Is that what's creating the situation? Mm-hmm.
Well, we've stayed rather stagnant in our population, if not dropped a bit. But where we've dropped is in school-age children.
Yeah.
Has anyone come up with a target population to strive for?
Well, I've heard targets since I've been in the community, and they've gone anywhere from keep it where it's at to 25,000. So I don't know that anybody's zero.
You're never going to get into 25,000.
There was a build-out analysis made in the late 1990s
That's what I thought.
by the township, and I believe the quote build-out capacity for Grosse Ile was pegged at somewhere a little over 12,500.
Yeah.
But it's somewhere around. That's the number that kind of sticks in my mind.
And I guess I'm saying I'm shaking my head saying I'm not sure of the number myself.
Yeah.
But I do know that it's higher than what we have right now.
Yeah. I was between 12 and 13,000.
A 10% increase in population in this community would make all the difference in the world.
It would. But what I would not want to see, I know when we were house hunting, we looked in the Lake Orion areas and the Oxford areas and Cranberry Lake and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so densely populated that you lost a lot. Which is why we ended up down here instead of up in the northern type suburbs.
This is true when you get overdeveloped.
Yeah,
You look in
so I wouldn't want us to go
look at
that
many of
I'd
the-
like maybe to come up with a target and say, if we could reach this target, this would be the impact on the schools.
Okay, we do
This
have,
would be,
we do have an action item dealing with that very topic about a joint meeting between the Open Space Committee and the Bike Path.
he went beyond that, though.
And when we get to that, I think we should finalize a date when our two groups can get together and talk.
I think that action item is the first step in that group. That's my point.
Okay. I have nothing to report as far as the property acquisitions. Again, there's a person that lives at the north end of the island that is interested in selling his property, but I think he's asking a price which exceeds what the fair market value is, so...
Yeah, let's not buy any more property that
I don't know if we
Does it
can
exceed-
afford to buy more
Well,
property.
it's, we have $500,000 in the acquisition fund, and I think it's at the north end of the island, and there's a mixture of conservancy, open space, and private land, and that in the north end of the island. I'm talking about from Horse Mill north. All right, moving
On the
along.
east or west side up there.
Pardon me?
Horse Mill North.
North of Horse Mill.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
north of Horse Mill.
Not the first one for what?
Well,
Land.
Well, you get to the BASF property.
then you get Bridge Road, then you got a little bit of development there, and then north of Bridge Road it
I know
becomes...
what you're talking about,
Yeah.
I don't want to know where he's ending it. Are you talking just Horse Mill to Bridge, or are you talking Horse Mill to Henneman Point?
I think he's talking Horse Mill, Henneman Point.
Well, that being the north end, but there's a lot of vacant, there's a lot of woods between Horse Mill and Bridge Road.
Okay.
That's where most of it
Is
is.
that where that piece of property is that he wants to sell?
Yes. Yes. Okay, moving along. The island cleanup. Art, that's your baby. You want to talk about it for a couple of minutes?
This is not my baby, but because I'm a Quaney, and it's a Kiwanis baby.
Yeah.
But this will be the 31st year that we have had an island cleanup on it.
All right.
Last year, we had 165 volunteers, and right now, we got that's under 100.
When is it going to be?
It's going to be April the 20th,
April 20th, okay.
and we'll have all the main arteries will be picked up, except we will not pick up on
Okay.
East River Road from Cozio Parkway going north, because the bank is treacherous for anybody to get down there to pick up.
Try to pick up East River right there in front of the school.
Where's
You'd be finding you in the water.
Yeah, I know. Well, but it goes all the way until you get to the other end,
Okay.
because the water is down low.
Yeah, where?
And the banks are very steep, so we don't want to have anybody injured.
Sure.
And we stay away from West River Road in the same area, starting from we'll pick up at the county bridge and come south all the way to Grove Road, but we won't go north.
I see Horse Mill's sort of loaded with stuff on the south side, so that's what I'll probably be doing that road. A lot of paper cups and stuff.
Yeah, well, we have enough of that, but we can't send volunteers out to pick up areas where it's dangerous.
Oh, sure.
You know, they've got to be safe.
Okay.
But we'll probably have in the vicinity of 165 again this year.
Okay. Well, anybody here that wants to, I think it's a worthwhile project. It cleans up
But
the island.
I'll just give you a flavor of where we get the volunteers. We get the Key Club, we get the Builders Club, we get the Boy Scouts, we get the Girl Scouts, we get the Cub Scouts, we get the Honor Society,
Okay.
and we just get a lot of volunteers, and we also get a lot of individuals that'll just volunteer.
Okay.
Just a husband and wife, or just a husband, or something like that.
Great.
But we
Okay, now that's April 20th.
It's from 9 to noon.
9 to noon.
April
Okay.
21st, right?
No, April 20th.
Oh, 20th.
12 o'clock.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
2 weeks from Saturday.
Saturday all the time.
Okay.
And the rendezvous spot, by the way, is the River Point Christian Church.
Right. Okay. Okay, moving along to the agenda items, projects and process. Pat, anything new on the survey, the trail survey?
Well, Pat and I had reviewed the old survey,
Okay.
and we had been trying to set up a meeting with Wally and with Brian. I didn't know that Pat was
Well, I did notice this
resigning.
afternoon.
Yeah, so I'll have to, before I came here, I sent Brian a email with proposed dates next week that we could meet, so
Okay.
I should have copied you on that, I apologize. I was trying to quick get it out before
I'm
I
happy to do
came over here.
that.
But,
You guys are the guys that stir the pot.
well,
All I
yeah,
do is deliver the pot.
but it helps, though, if you have some idea of what's going on.
Well, it doesn't never hurt.
Would
Yeah.
that, okay.
So anyway, I guess unless somebody wants to join and help me out, I'll just keep going along
If
by
you need some help,
myself.
let us know.
I think Brian will be a very, very willing participant in that.
I think what I was really relying on Pat on was to get that information about the computer program that she had said had worked so well in electronic surveys.
Well, maybe it's her
But I-
swan song if you can purvey on her.
Yeah,
and,
but I think you were aware of that
I'm not
software.
so much aware of that program, but I can tell you that the Bike Path Advisory Commission is working on something called Promoting Active Communities, and that's a very comprehensive self-survey. And Brian will bring you up to speed on that.
Yeah.
Brian and Gary Bailey have both, well, actually, Alan Veliquette is in charge of it, and he's about 90% done. So anytime you have a joint meeting, you want to really strive to get those folks into
Who
it.
was the one after Gary?
Alan Veliquette, Valiquette.
He's a policeman.
Oh, I think I bought my
He's a
boat
policeman.
from him.
Really?
Which one? That's right on the island?
Yeah.
On the island.
Okay.
Okay.
Does he have triplets or something?
He's got a good-sized family.
I got his
Sweet
boat then.
kids,
Yeah, because he had just had triplets and he had to get rid of the boat.
He's been really gung-ho on that survey, and between him and Brian Pollock, you will find very
I'll also get hold of
enthusiastic.
Pat, though, and sort of find out
See
who
if
she
she
was
can-
going to
see if she
use,
can
too.
help, yeah. So we can get that,
Okay.
I think a joint survey between the Open Space and the Bike Path Committee regarding this issue would be extremely
You see,
helpful.
you see
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that synergy that I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out a way to get it to work?
Yeah.
Well, it would help if you had at least quarterly a meeting where a
Yeah.
rep from each one
Well, we're
Well, we
got
can-
together.
Well,
journey of a million miles.
when we get that, when we get to that joint meeting item on the agenda, we'll discuss that in detail. Okay, Pat, listen, if you need some help, give me a call.
Okay.
Okay. Woody, the wood cutting event.
Yeah, it didn't go over well because the people who wanted to sign up for it, we had to cut them out the week of because it snowed, and I didn't feel like anybody should get hurt out there with a chainsaw in their hand, slip and fall. So we did it the following week, and we didn't had only, 4 people show up?
No more came after I left?
No. Four people showed up.
4 showed and 8 signed up, though.
Right.
Well, maybe we can have one this fall.
Well, we're going to have one in the fall, of course. We might even have a couple if it starts to go well, but we cleaned up that thing on East River Road so they have a chance to go back and get stuff that's sitting there.
Now, are we going to pursue what Darrell had suggested, that we set up with the township, that someone could call and say, I would like to do this on this date, and that someone from this committee then would go there and be available to let them do it, or are we just going to keep it at 2 a year?
Well, that could run into problems with,
Well, Darrell had said that he was willing to be the person on call.
fine, if he wants to be a person on call, let him be on call then.
Yeah, but we
maybe-
have to set it up.
We can have, either Darrell can, or else one of us can, and they can do it on an if-come basis, just as long as there's somebody there that wants to cut.
So we're going to pursue that then?
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
said
can do that,
it was
but-
part of our goals and objectives that we had for this year.
Okay, so do you have to set that up somehow with Carol Knope, or?
We can broach the subject with Carol and with Brian, not Brian, but with Dale Ream.
So you're going to do that?
We can put it in the paper and just say, give us a call, but
Okay,
don't pick holiday weekends.
okay, maybe we can set it up on an appointment basis.
Right.
Okay.
Because I'm sure that the people call want a certain area that they want to
Yeah.
go, and so a lot of the areas that they can't go into.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you got one advantage you go in that route, though, and that is that you get, you don't have to depend on letting people come in and do it on a particular day. I mean,
Right.
they'll do it when they have time.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing it for a while, but I just don't want the holiday weekend.
Yeah, we can set
Right.
up a time.
Well, it has to
that-
be reasonable.
A time that has to be agreeable between the person who wants to cut the wood and the person who wants to
Right.
be there while they're
Right.
cutting. Okay,
Right.
good point. All right, I'll get a hold of Dale and work through him so we can set this up on an appointment basis.
Right.
In addition to maybe another wood cutting event in the fall.
We do it in the summer, but it's all grown up. There's
Yeah,
no
summer,
cleanup
I
in
think
there.
it's either, the best time to do it is either in the late winter like we had it, or else in the fall, maybe late.
But because that's when the
October,
people
early
are
November.
planning on,
Yeah,
After the
Using
leaves are off.
absolutely.
All the
but
I
then
don't
the
think-
people that were
December's a
there
nice time.
the last time, they said that what they were cutting, they used throughout the summer for bonfires and stuff.
Oh,
So-
okay. Well, we can, as we said, we had one a couple of weeks ago, and we can have another one this fall, and set it up on an appointment basis as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, tree and brush removal. We spent $4,200 this last week to remove the brush and trees and junk, not junk, but that was on the area on East River where we had the wood cutting event. My personal opinion was that money was well spent. I've received nothing but complaints about the hellacious nature of that area. So we did spend some money to clean it up. It looks a lot better now. And
Now, was that mostly because the Detroit Edison went through and put those new poles in and they didn't clean up their mess, or what?
it was,
Because it had not been that bad before.
well, they certainly didn't help matters any.
No.
So we sort of cleaned up
We
for
cleaned,
them.
we cleaned up after them, but that area, I can remember the prior police chief calling me, and this is a number of years ago, telling me that how bad that area looks. You know?
But
That was
it got
privately owned,
really
that.
bad, really
It was
fast.
privately owned. They didn't clean it up.
Yeah.
We had to clean up somebody's mess that sold it to us.
Yeah. Well, it's been an eyesore for a long time, but
What is the north boundary and what's the south boundary on that?
Well, it's just south of Hallison Court, and north of
Terry
Lake-
McCarthy's
Lake Road?
house. Lake Road, yeah.
So it's Lake and what?
Hallison.
Halligan Court.
Hallison Court.
Yes, yeah.
It's a big stretch from the end of the property to Lake, but that's where it is.
Okay. Last items in process is the trail signs. The signs have completed, they're ready to be installed. We are scheduled to meet with Dave from Townsend Sign a week from today's Tuesday, right? A week from today
Where?
at the Township Hall,
The ninth.
9 o'clock.
9 a.m.?
9 a.m. And we're going to determine the exact location of each one of the signs. We have stakes, and we're going to drive into the ground, and then Townsend Sign will install them. So if there's anybody that's interested in attending that meeting, it's not a meeting, it's going to say, okay, here are the 5 locations,
Next Tuesday, right?
next Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Pat, if
It's on my calendar.
okay, if you can be there, or anybody can be there, that's fine. And there's going to be, let's see, there's 5 signs, and we're going to put them in 4 different locations.
What about the sign that was broken? Are they going to fix that one?
Yes, that'll be fixed. You mean the open space sign?
Yeah. the
Yeah,
one
I've already
tree knocked it.
contacted Tony to get Townsend Sign to fix that particular
We
Well,
put
sign.
they've taken it down, but I was wondering when it's going to come
Yeah,
back.
I don't have a date on that.
Okay.
Are we going to put an open space sign on that area we just cleaned up there on East River? There's no sign there.
We have no plans to do it. I'm not saying we shouldn't.
Why?
We have no plans to put one in there.
Well, there's always a plan when we have open space, we put a sign in.
We have sign in the end. We can put a sign there. It costs us about $2,500 for the sign.
For that little sign?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It costs a lot of money from towns, and I don't understand how it costs that much money.
Well, you can get it for about half price if you put it in yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
They'll make the sign and you put it in.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, we'll think about that.
We should look at alternatives to that.
Yeah, I mean,
There's got to be a better way to buy a sign than that.
It looks nice. It's a very nice
yeah.
sign.
Yeah, but for $2,500, you know, you could have lunch over
$2,500,
there.
I'll have 16 of them that look
I mean,
good.
what, how big is that baby?
It's about this big.
About 4 feet low wide.
And it's driven into the ground. It's
It's all nice.
they're not cheap.
Have you seen the sign that the garden club put up at the Hummingbird Garden?
No,
How
I
much
have
was that?
not.
That was way under that. It was like $1,500.
And who did that?
The son of one of our members.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's how you get a lot of
I
things
said
done.
2,500. I believe it's that amount. It might be a little bit less.
No,
but
it's
I don't
too
think
much.
it's that much less.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Well, let's explore.
Okay.
Is there something that's cast in stone as to
No.
how it must look, or what it must be made out of, or
No,
are
I
we
mean,
looking at an aluminum sign painted, or are we looking at a hand-carved wooden sign painted, or
Or does anybody know how to make really nice signs?
there aren't many people out there that make really nice signs out of treated lumber,
Yeah.
and they use a router to do the
Yeah.
engraving, and they look really sharp. And I bet you can get them for less than
Do you have written
$2,500.
specs?
For the sign? I don't. No.
Dale does.
Because I'd be
Dale.
willing to contact our garden club member and have her son give
Dale
us an
has the
estimate.
specs? Okay, we'll contact
No,
him.
he put it up too, or did it put it up for a certain price too, or?
They're using the same spec as they used for the recreation department signs.
So, do you want me to call Dale and ask him for the spec?
Yeah,
Sure,
sure. Yeah, please.
no harm done.
Along with the trail signs, it'd be nice if we could get a trail passed. You know, what we tried to get 2x4 through the township, and they never made it.
You mean the trail procedure?
Yeah,
Which
that'd be
one?
nice to get through too.
The one that was rejected?
Reject the one, yeah, right.
I get this feeling I'm being talked about.
No.
Huh, what'd you say?
I said I get this feeling I'm being talked about.
No, you
Not
talked
you,
about...
but just everybody. I mean, you got knocked down.
I don't know what that was all about. I wasn't involved in it.
You know.
Yeah, it was a procedure that we developed for approving trails, and it was the prior board. It was a tie vote, to be honest with you. One of the board members was not in attendance, and it
So
was
the
a
tie vote means it went down.
and it was a
Yeah.
tie vote, which meant down.
And who
So
wasn't there?
The guy who went out of town,
he was out of town.
Johnson.
No,
Johnson?
no.
Teeter?
He
Eric?
used to be in the bike path. Eric
Eric was not.
Eric was out of town.
He would have voted for it.
He would have voted for it, yes, he would have.
Well,
Let's have another one.
So we
there you
can
go.
try it again, if we're,
Let me take a look at it. Give me what you got.
okay, all
We'll
right.
see what we can do to aggravate. I mean,
I hate to say this, Pat, but this is a cheap pen.
No, it's the person who's working it. The person-
It's the same as this one, and mine is working just fine.
Okay. All right,
He's not doing this, so.
the
He's using the wrong hand.
trail procedure.
that's right. Southpaws United.
All right. Dump the junk. We usually have one in May of this year.
Sure.
Should we have it in May?
Sure.
Should we have it mid-May?
Fine.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Pick a date.
okay.
What do you like?
What is the second? We don't want to have it on
Let's get it
Mother's
over
Day.
with.
There you
Okay.
go.
They got people calling DPS asking when we're going to
Driving
have it.
nuts. Yeah, you got to give them a lot of notice.
Yeah. Okay, Saturday and Sunday. I know we have it the 18th and the 19th. Any
good.
problem with that? Woody makes a call.
Let's see.
18th and 19th. This requires very little
Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday. This is automatic. All we have to do is call Lorinda. She sets it up with the waste treatment people, and they get all the arrangements out there. We get the signs. Donna makes the signs, and we're ready to go. Just a couple phone calls. So Woody, get a hold of Lorinda and set it up for the May 18th and 19th.
Okay.
That's going to be the day that the Beautification Council of Southeastern Michigan is going to have their 50th anniversary celebration.
It's also Armed Services Day or something, and I saw it in print, man.
May
Whatever weekend you pick, you're going to run into.
Yeah, we're running into something.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Following week is Memorial Day weekend. The week before that is Mother's Day. So
Yeah, right. So that's good.
okay. The joint meeting, the open space and bike path committees, which I think is an excellent idea. Do we want to set up a date for a meeting just to get to know each other and sit down and talk about issues? Have an open
How many committee
forum,
members
or-
do you have on the bike path committee?
6 plus May.
How many?
6 plus May.
So it's 7. And how many do you have on open space?
We have 7.
You have 7 too?
Yeah.
7, we're -1 now, but we had 7.
7.
So you got 13.
So we would,
3, 4.
instead of talking about it, why don't we just set it
Why don't you just plan on it being at the next bike path meeting?
When is that?
when is that?
Next week on Tuesday.
Next who?
Next week on Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Sure. I don't think that we have anything. Let me just check the magic brains here to make sure.
I got something next Tuesday. Next Tuesday's KSC meeting.
Well, you always got to be.
Yeah, you're correct. It's the third Tuesday I'm thinking of.
Oh, you're thinking the third Tuesday, okay.
Yeah, that's a KSC meeting, and I hang with that same group.
Yeah.
4 and 5 meetings a week.
Yeah, I know that. We can't. It's hard to get around you.
I know, but
Yeah, let's do
he's
it.
on the KSC too.
When?
When?
Let's do it the third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday?
16th
I believe that's the
16th to what?
April.
Is that what it is?
I haven't got it entered in here yet.
Oh,
Bike Path Committee meeting, 7:30 p.m.,
Now-
Tuesday, April 16th.
Now, do they have it?
April 16th.
Aye.
Yeah, I think what we want to do is maybe have
April
a
16th.
spot in there where we just sit down and
16.
introduce each other and tell each other about basically.
This is exactly what I wanted to do.
7:30?
Put the people together in an informal
7:30?
setting, introduce each other, and start talking about this.
7:30
Yeah,
7:30.
7:30.
on 4/16.
Okay. Okay. And I don't think we have to have a set agenda. It's
Nope.
just an introductory.
This will be an introduction, and we'll just talk a little bit about the idea of common interests and common hobbles. You know, we both have issues with funding. Bike Pass has no more money for Bike Pass, and you have no more money for open space purchases, and
Well, we got $500,000.
you got $500,000. I got $500,000 in maintenance. I've got more than that in maintenance for Bike Pass, but no construction funds. You know, so again, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to go forward on the island, and I think right now we're at a build out for a Bike Pass where we ought to start concentrating on tying them together with existing trails. Nothing that says you can't go off of a paved bike path and onto a chipped trail and to continue your journey around.
Well, let's just get to know each other,
Sure.
and that's what I think what the meeting is about.
That's fine. I'm sure Brian will go for that.
Okay.
I don't like to speak for the chairman. It's been my philosophy since I've been around, and you've been on committees with me, and so have you. We let the committees do the work, because they're the brains of the outfit. All we do is carry.
I'd really like to see the bike path go down South Point versus Horseville. Because it's a lot tighter going down South Point Drive.
Yeah. Well, let's
First of all, we got to figure out how to get the money to do that.
I know that. We could have taken the money from the horse club because you don't need
It
it. from the horse club.
didn't make much
All
sense
right.
at that point.
Okay, so it's the 16th of April. Would you let me know, give the call to Brian and
Sure.
see if he's agreeable? And
I'm
then,
sure he will be.
And then we usually, they meet here? At the township,
Well,
in the
we can
boardroom?
meet right in, well, we could either meet in here or we could meet in the first floor.
First floor would be fine. Okay.
Let me see if first floor is open, because that's a nicer room with a bigger table, and there's enough
Yeah.
room for everybody to get around the table.
Yeah, is it televised? That's the only reason we're meeting here is because they directed that this meeting be televised.
Well, you can televise it downstairs, too.
Yeah, well, we used to, didn't we? You're
Yeah.
right, you're right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a much, the reason why we're up here is because we wanted to have it, we thought we were going to have a lot of people attend the
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah.
And we don't have that kind of room downstairs.
Excuse me, Chair. Bike ped is televised here.
It
Like
is.
that's here?
The bike path's always been held here, but I'm saying for the next meeting, we could probably move down into the first floor conference room for need.
Okay,
For space.
if you're not looking to televise, then that would be fine.
I don't think that we need to televise
Why
everyone.
not?
No.
It's got to be open.
Okay.
That door's open.
I know that, but
Are there,
It's a study session, Woody. It's not really.
I don't want to hear
Yeah.
all that crap, study stations.
okay, so to sum it up then, Pat, can I steal your notes
No. Why you gonna do that?
so I
If
can
you
put
think
something?
you can read them.
Yeah, so I can put the minutes together. Because you do a much better job than I do.
Now, let me
Not
just-
going to get you nowhere.
You don't have to pretty it up, Pat. And I'll get it back to you.
There's 4 actions resulting.
Okay. Let me go around the table and see if there's any other items that we should be talking about. Pat,
I have a question.
future meetings?
Does anyone other than the residents pick up trash? I mean, we don't have anything in the DPW or
Oh.
any place like that. Okay. Because from just that area, while we were standing there in front of the open space,
Yeah.
I literally got a full bag of trash. And I just hate to see the open spaces become trash pits for litter.
I'm going to talk about that when it comes my turn, but you're absolutely right.
That's it.
Okay. Art, anything?
No, I don't have anything except that I think that if we didn't have some people who volunteer strictly on a pride basis, that we would have a lot more litter up and down the bike paths than we have any place on the island.
True.
But we have people that just make it their business to go and pick up.
Okay. Woody, anything?
No, the thing we talked about is that for the trails, you get that passed by the township hall. And we talked about that already.
The path by the township hall.
Well, the township knocked it down last time. You said we were going to...
Oh, you're talking about the procedure.
Right,
Yeah, I'm going to
right,
put it on the
right.
agenda Wally, do you think, when would it be better, I'm going to give you a copy of the agenda, of the procedure that we developed. I think it made a lot of sense. There's no need to change it. Do you think the township board would be I'll give you a copy of it, and let you look it over, and then
Let me see if I can get it on as a discussion.
Yes,
All right.
okay?
Won't happen next meeting.
That's fine.
It'll happen the one after that if it happens.
Whatever, that's fine, okay.
What, are you afraid you're going to lose your key?
Not on that
I'm
anymore.
afraid I'm going to forget it, that's why. Wally, anything else?
No, I'm just sending an email to Brian right now.
Okay. Two things. One thing that really has got me totally torqued up, but I think I've settled down a little bit. I got a call from Doug Field today. The open space called Centennial Farms, okay, is an absolute. I'm going to meet with Darrell Flarsky, that's his area, tomorrow morning, and Tony Gray. We're going to take a walk through that area. That area has had a history of being absolutely abused and misused by the residents who border on that open space. It is an absolute crime, according to what Doug has portrayed to me, that the way that area is treated. Kids misuse it. There's trash. They've taken axes to trees. So I'm going to look at it firsthand. And there's been encroachment, gross encroachment out of that open space. And it's a beautiful area, but right now it's almost an eyesore. So that particular issue has caused me a lot of consternation. The police department has done their best to try to catch people in the act of misusing that piece of property, but they can't be there 24/7. And it's an absolute disgrace the way that some of our residents have allowed that area to be misused and abused. And it's had a history of that ever since I've been on the Open Space Committee, and somehow we've got to put a stop to it. I don't know exactly what to do or how to do it, but the residents who border on that area have got to take responsibility, either with some of the young people there or with themselves or whatever, to stop misusing that piece of property.
Where are you speaking of specifically?
I'm talking about, what Centennial Farm is?
Yeah.
The open space that's directly to the west of the Centennial Farm, that runs from where that white
Sure.
fence is.
All of the streets, A76 dead end into it?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's an absolute disgrace. And there's a couple of people who have done their best to maintain the trail in that area. But from what Doug Thiel has related to me this afternoon, that area has been grossly misused, despite the efforts of some residents to keep it up. So I'm going to see what we...
Some residents using it as their own property.
And some people using it as a garbage dump. Some of the young people in there going in and tearing it up with their terrain vehicles, throwing trash in there, having parties in there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't care. In other words, some people will say, well, I'm offended by the statements that you've made. Well, sometimes the truth hurts.
Well, there was even a tree house in there.
Yeah. The other areas don't seem to be as bad.
They don't have population there either.
That's right.
Most of the other one is...
But you'd think that...
Manchester, and they don't seem like they have the problem, but...
But again, there's a couple of residents in there that have really contributed a lot to try to make it as nice an area as they possible. But there's others that have just grossly misused it. They think it's their own private property, and we got to put a stop to it. So that's my comment. So I'm going to meet with them tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock here. Darrell Flarsky, who is the overseer for that area, myself, and Tony Gray are going to go over and look at it. And if there's any areas of gross encroachment, as been portrayed to me, that the letters are going to have to be written and action's going to have to be taken. Anybody wants to join me? That's fine. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Now, on the bags that you pick up, when they fill up, they just leave them, and you have somebody come around and pick those bags
You
up?
mean on the island cleanup?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have 3 pickup trucks that are going
Okay,
around.
so they fill the bag, they leave it on the side of the road?
What happens is everybody reports to
Right.
the site, the rendezvous site. They get bags, gloves, and an assignment where they're going. And what they're told to do when the bag fills up or it gets too heavy for them to continue carrying, they
Just tie it up.
and set it alongside the road, and then the truck will pick it up later on.
Very good.
Then it's picked up and brought back to the compaction truck. We have a compaction truck there, so that
Okay.
everything is all packed in. I want to get back to comment on that area. One of the fellows who was on the beautification committee with me a long time ago. We used to clean that area up, and that area has always been an eyesore. And this was
certainly
before.
has.
This was before Centennial Farm was owned by the township
Yeah.
at the time. But those it's a gathering place for mischief.
It is.
You know, it's that kind of an area.
It is, and it's a shame that it is, because that open space, isn't it? We tried to put an official trail through there, and the residents go all up in arms, starting petitions. They don't want people going through that area, et cetera, et cetera.
Before it was open space property, that trail was there.
Yes, that's been there.
You know, it's because like when I say this, I'm going back about 25 years that it was, and at that time, then if you cut directly west of there to come toward Meridian Road,
Yes.
okay. Hey, there was even vehicles that were abandoned in there.
Well, I found the complete.
Bodies of cars that were taken in there.
Well, we
and abandoned.
dragged a lot of them out, didn't we?
Yes,
Oh yeah, we
did.
took them out. But
Yes,
I mean,
we
I'm
did.
talking about it's been this kind of a dumping ground for a long time.
We had a dumpster that we put in the end of, and I forget exactly what street it was. And within, some residents helped us, and that dumpster was filled very quickly. There was a complete front-end suspension. Front-wheel drive vehicles consist of a transmission and call it a transaxle. We found a complete front end of a vehicle back there that somebody had tossed in there.
I know.
And it's disgraceful.
So this is not really brand new.
I know that.
And this is something that's
But
been.
what can we do? I mean, the police department do their best to put a stop to it.
The residents have got to do it themselves. If they don't do it themselves, they got a mess. They look like junk. That's what they want. Let them leave it. Quit babysitting them.
Yeah.
Woody's got somewhat of a point. If you're content to live at the last house on that road and you want to have everybody's garbage at the end of your road, it's a dead end. Nobody's going to see it.
Yeah.
And he wants it. He doesn't do
The
anything
biggest
about it.
consequences is to them.
But there's.
You would think that they would want to clean it up and enhance their
But
property.
I think there's something you got to say something kind of in that same vein, Wally. But the problem is that you don't want to live at a place where you have to clean up all the time because you have all that kind of mischief going on all the time.
Well, Brian Loftus has got a good idea in a blight ordinance, and I think that this is probably a logical spot to start that. I'm concerned about the blight ordinance because I don't think a boat in a driveway is as much a blight as a transaxle at the end of your street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, we have to start someplace, and that might be a good place to start exercising what we have as authority to get this place cleaned up.
We used to have a lot of trouble with the island cleanup at the north end, where the nature center is up there.
Yes.
We used to have a lot of stuff dumped off up there, and we've got that pretty much under control now, so that when the Boy Scouts go up there to pick up, we will be lucky to get a trailer load or a pickup load out of that area when we go up there on the 20th. But the idea is there are no residents in that area.
Yeah.
There's nobody to watch for it. But here, this area that we're talking here, we got people that live on Manchester.
It doesn't was Manchester. It's these streets.
Yeah, I understand the dead-end streets, the streets that the junction.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th,
Yeah. There's some people that figure that it's a good place to run their own terrain vehicles, and this is we had an instance back, what I call it, our 200 acres that are sitting, or 180 acres that are sitting over here on Meridian, where somebody was going through and actually had torn up the ground using their all-terrain vehicles. And it's just a question of what is our ordinance concerning that area. I think the police have told me that if they catch them, they could impound the vehicle. It's a question of catching them.
Yeah.
It's a question of catching
We don't
them.
have the vehicles to catch them.
But if anybody does it, that they run the risk of losing, what do they run, a couple $1,000?
$5, $6, $7, $8.
Okay, they run the risk of losing their vehicle.
Now, you said you had another point. Well, Cliff, what was the other one?
Well, I got so wound up about this
I know,
graceful
but
attitude
you
that
said- You said you had another
What's
one.
new?
just one other item. This is a question for you, Wally.
I better concentrate.
With this meeting, you can see that we've changed the agenda a little bit, where we're trying to follow the new township guidelines for conducting open meetings, whereby instead of having a comment on each action item, we have a general comment on the agenda items before the meeting, and then public comment afterwards. So we're going to follow the township's lead on that for this particular meeting. People usually don't attend, so it doesn't concern us as much, but I think we're going to try it and see what happens.
No harm done.
Okay.
Consistent.
Okay. Are there any other items? If not,
Motion to adjourn. Bye.
Second.
meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.
Time out.